Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Avocado Insider series. It's your host, Harshit Godha. In this episode, Netafim Israel compares their drip lines with PCJ drippers and micro sprinklers for avocado farming. Netafim suggests to use drip net or uniram at every 40 to 50 centimeters in uh, an avocado orchard, and the reason for that is that uh, when the when the orchard is young, you probably don't need to irrigate in between the trees. Just have one dripper at the tree and that would suffice. But as the orchard matures and the canopy and the root system starts developing, and what happens is they overlap between the two trees, so you have to irrigate that part of the root system as well and fertigate it along with it. So that's why when you irrigate the area at every 40-50 centimeter, you are irrigating in between the trees as well. Their PCJ drippers can't cover as much area as much as Uniram or DripNet, because PCJ cannot irrigate beyond 1.5 feet radius. Now, when comparing the Uniram and DripNet to micro sprinklers, then the issue with micro sprinklers is that it requires more maintenance. Micro sprinklers need to remain erect, and uh, they have a tendency to keep falling down if the drip line is moved by accident. So that's one issue. Another issue is that avocado trees are self-mulching. The leaves fall off and become a natural mulch for the tree. So when the micro sprinkler is on, a lot of water is over the mulch and not doesn't get penetrated inside the soil. So you have to use a lot of extra water, and a lot of it is evaporated just from the top layer of the mulch itself. If you require any further clarification about drip irrigation or fertigation, post your questions in the comment section down below, and I'll ask Netafim Israel those questions and come back to you with an answer, either in a separate video or I'll reply to your comment. Now let's proceed to the presentation.
Okay. Yes. Can you just make it on a presentation mode so it would be okay, guys? We had a discussion about in the mails about what kind of drip line and laterals and drip spacing we should apply.
Right.
What you see here is the drip line between two trees. Okay, this trench, this ditch, this hole is between the two trees. And you see how many roots there are between the trees. Okay, this is exactly why we recommended a lateral, a drip line with drippers every at least 50 centimeters. If the soil is sandy, so okay, go down even to 40 centimeters. This way, we are making sure that the full volume of the roots will be wetted, and not only the close to the drippers as it in a PCJ or PC drippers. It's highly important. The less wetted volume that you will have, less vegetation that you will have, and less production that you will have. And this is exactly why we initiated this meeting, in order to emphasize this issue. This is correct in for every tree crop. It's much more important for avocado, which the roots are high, shallow, and wide along all the roots, along all the row. It is much more important in sandy and on ridges, because if the aeration is good, also the water are going down, and we want to make the whole area wet. And last but not least is the fertigation issue. Danny talked about it very slightly. When we are talking about avocado, nutrition is very, very important. And when you give irrigation for avocado, our recommendation is to give irrigation with fertilizers at every irrigation. Again, this is important for every tree crop. It's much more important for avocado. And in your situation, where you have rain very much in the season, the nutrition is going to be very, very important, because the upper level is very leached from nutrients. So during the rainy season, you will need to apply fertilizers, very small amount of water with concentrated juice, concentrated fertilizers, to make sure that despite that this is the rainy season, the trees continue to grow up and preparing for roots. Before I will pass the table to Dubi, Danny, can you please skip the slides to the slide of the new plantation, where you see yes, exactly this one. And okay. So here you see a young plantation, and you see the wet area, dry, wet, dry. Now this is a young plantation, so this is okay. But when this kind of plantation is going to be mature, the trees are going to touch each other, and also the roots are going to be everywhere. So if it's going to be everywhere, the roots are going to be also where it says now dry. But with the PCJ strategy, water and fertilizers are not going to get to this dry area. If you will maintain a continuous lateral with a dripper every half a meter, 40 centimeters, then in between the trees, you will have water and nutrients that will make sure that the trees will grow and be vegetative and productive much more than with a PCJ dripper every 4 meters, 4.5 meters. So this was very important to say. Dubi, you wanted to say something?
It's exactly the same what I wanted to say, what you said now. But the idea here, they have more rain than in Israel. So the root distribution all over the year is much more. And when you come to the irrigation time, when there's no rain, and you work only with PCJ, you're working on very small amount of roots. So this completes what you said. So in their case, it's even worse than what we have in Israel. This is the point.
Okay. Someone else want to say something? Shanku? Yes?
Yes, yes. Yeah. So that's concerning that exactly the same point. I was thinking like, what if we go for micro sprinklers instead? Like instead of the Uniram, if it's spreading much more, then micro sprinkler would be better, right?
Danny, you want to answer this?
Yes, I answered it in the presentation, but I will do it again here. When you use micro sprinklers, you get much more weeds, much more maintenance, and you can cause disease by wetting the trunk. And also, as I told you before, you have a kind of mulch of leaf. If you look here, you see that you need, in the left picture, you need to penetrate the mulch of the leaves. And the drip line is under it, usually, because the mulch is falling on the drip line. And the micro sprinklers, when you irrigate it, it takes time, and you waste water, and water is also evaporated from the mulch and from everywhere, and that causes you also wasting more water when you use micro sprinklers. So therefore, and we can see that it works very good. The drip line, it's not something that no one knows. We actually have very long experience, and in many places in the world, that it's an excellent solution, and I would recommend using drip line.
Just to emphasize, yes, Micro sprinklers are option, but if you are going and you are looking for a smaller system, so dripline or drippers are much more efficient, and therefore you can be much more efficient with the water. And in your case, even with the fertilizer, not even with the fertilizers, and going for low volume of system means smaller systems, much more cost effective, and this is why we recommend it. I'm not saying that it's not possible to go good on micro sprinklers, but we think that under your conditions, drippers will give you better results with less losses of water and energy and fertilizers. Narendra, you want to show the product issue, please?
Can I say something? Just a minute.
Yes.
Yes.
Even in
Narendra, wait a minute, Narendra, you take control of the screen and get ready while Harshit is asking his question.
Now, I'm just adding to Shanku's point, his question, that even in Magan, I saw micro sprinklers, but as I spoke to Benny over a period of last 3 years, then he's also saying that they shifted all it to drip, like drip lines and not using micro sprinklers.
Okay, so
if
if
Ben is not the only one.
if Harshit touched the issue of Magan, so yes, Magan was one of the last growers that used the micro sprinklers for avocado, and in the past 3.5 years, every year, Magan in their avocado, changed from micro sprinklers to drip, and today in Magan there are no more micro sprinklers, only drip. For Magan, the main issue was maintenance. We assume that maintenance of micro sprinklers is about 15% higher, making sure that the micro sprinklers stand like this, no cuts in the macaroni tube, no breaks. And since in Israel the maintenance or the labor is very, very expensive, so today no micro sprinkler in Magan, only drip.
And also, I can tell you that I myself used to grow avocado with micro sprinklers because of the maintenance. Because if the micro sprinklers move to the side and then it start to wet even the branches and the road between the trees, we decided to change to drip 20 years ago. And as Ziv said, I think Benny was the last one in Israel that changed from micro sprinklers to drip.
I hope you found the video interesting and insightful. I'm posting regular content on my channel these days, so I hope you take some time to subscribe and push the notification bell. That way, you will automatically get notified whenever I post something new. Thank you for watching.